What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Mindseye yet again. Now, we've talked about this a few times with the central theme, and I do want to say I feel like I was one of the earlier ones that was doing this. The central theme of something feeling off, right? That there's just something not right. And I think some people take this kind of the wrong way. Not just let's go and let's destroy this game just because I feel like hating on games. No, I want games to succeed. I love all types of different. I play hundreds and hundreds of games a year, okay? I want this game to be good. This is in a way, a startup company, right? They're working on even bigger things beyond Mindseye. Comes from, obviously, a person who was very integral to GTA. Like, there's a lot going for it, and I don't want this game to be a failure. I want, and you know what? They're charging money for this thing. When people buy this game, I want people to feel like they got their money's worth, and I hope a lot of other people want that as well. So I just have noticed, over the last several months, something is off. The game comes out in like 2 weeks, and we've gotten such a bad amount of things. And when I say that, I mean, we haven't seen anything. We really have seen next to nothing on this game. What we have seen has been very, very lackluster, and it's made me worried, in the past. So that's what we've talked about up until today. Now, what we got today is really one specific preview from MrMattyPlay's, a guy that I highly respect on YouTube, and I think he does a fantastic job, particularly with Retro Rebound, his retrospective channel. Okay, this is a guy I trust, and this is a guy that, let's kind of start off with this, though. He talks about this preview event, and he talks about how it was all digital, right? It was hands-off, and so the footage is provided. It's not even his own footage. He wasn't allowed to actually touch it, so any footage that he saw, including the complaints or criticisms that he saw, he wasn't even in charge of moving the character around. But the first issue, beyond even what I just said, which there's already several issues there, where's the other previews? If you type in right now, go ahead, go on Google, type in Mindseye previews, and you tell me what other outlets are even talking about. There's people talking about his preview, which is what I'm doing. I think I saw a PlayStation Access video on it this morning, so they may have seen it, but where are all of the previews? He wasn't the only one that got to look at the game. Other people did too. Where are their impressions? I didn't see anybody. And normally you see 5, 10, 15 sites, legitimate sites, and then you get influencers, right? YouTubers, etc. I've only seen him. So the first problem is, where is everybody that supposedly saw this game? Or did anybody even see this game? Well, the answer is they kind of had to, right? That's the first problem. The second problem is everything I just said, okay? So just the baseline kind of facts of he wasn't in control of it. He was watching it. This is, if you're playing or you're watching somebody else play a game that's 6 months away, a little bit different, right? If that's preview event 1 and then you have a preview event 2, the game comes out in 2 weeks. You should be able to play the game, at this point. Another thing he said that really, there's people that have done, bullet points of, his own video, of what he said. And you can check out his entire video, by the way. But one thing I found to be very alarming is he talked about invincibility. I think he said this around halfway through the video, that in the gameplay, the actual gameplay that he got to see, the developers were literally using cheats of invincibility. So they were running through gauntlets. People were shooting at the character, and they were running through and getting through the mission, but they literally had an invincibility cheat. Now, again, there's a couple of reasons why a developer might do this. Most of them are bad reasons. Most of them are kind of alarms should be going off in your head that there's a problem. But again, let me just circle back, I think, to the strongest point. Because here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. The game comes out in just a few weeks. They're charging, I think, $60 for this game. This game is not a year away. And, the biggest thing that came out of Matty's video was delay it, right? I think he said that within the first minute of the video is his number one takeaway from the entire thing is delay the game because it's not ready. And so, okay, that really, I think, summarizes, and it's really something that we've talked about for months, is it not? The game looks like it has something. The entire preview wasn't bad, right? It's not like every single thing about the game that was bad. He talked about positives, the cutscenes, seemingly the story, and the gameplay itself seemed fine. It really seemed like the cutscenes and story was the only good thing, and then everything else was serviceable, or some things, I shouldn't say everything else. Some things were serviceable, and then there was a lot of alarming things, about the game. So there is something. It's not like this game is completely doomed or there's absolutely nothing here. here, it seems like there's an idea. It seems like there's a premise. It seems like there's a gameplay loop. It seems like there's all of that, but the game can't come out in 2 weeks. You know, it's just, and I mean, like, he talked a lot about bugs, right? That was the other main, or that was really tied into it. Why does the game need to be delayed? Because of bugs. You could look at that invincibility thing as one thing, but, you know, he talks about enemy, kind of like how their reactions, right? Enemies would be like crouching and shooting at their own cover instead of shooting at him. They would run blindly right at the character. Just a lot of incredibly bad AI, along with pop-ins, along with stuttering, along with all of the, you know, any kind of graphical or performance type issue that you can think of was in this game. Now it's being streamed to him, right? That's a potential thing. They did tell him that it's going to be patched day one, but as he very nicely puts it, which I think should be said, is that many developers will promise it and not do it, right? Fallout 76 was his example. There's numerous times that developers will say, oh, that won't make it to the base game. It makes it to the base game. You know, a lot of games aren't really finished till like a year after they come out because it takes so freaking long to patch it anyway. So to see this 2 weeks before the game comes out, I don't know if I believe them. In fact, why would I believe them? What have they actually shown? The whole thing has felt off. So let me just summarize and then I'll let you out of here, okay? My entire premise leading into today, I didn't even know there was a preview thing, you know, releasing today, has been something feels off. The game doesn't feel complete. It feels more and more like there's not really anything here. Maybe there's a central premise, maybe there's whatever, but it doesn't feel like a complete whole game. It feels like they're hiding something. And now this comes out, and it feels like they're hiding performance, how enemies behave, mediocre, like fine, it'll get you through the game gameplay, and maybe a good story. And the game also comes out in like 16 days. So you pay or you don't pay, that's up to you. But I'm glad he made that video, you know, ultimately, and I always say this, make your own determination, right? Don't go based off me, don't go based off Matty. But what I would argue is that what I have felt, and I do think it's been reciprocated. I think the videos that I've made have been, you know, generally people agreeing with me. If you feel like that, and then you get to today where you see and hear all the stuff that he said, it just validates all of the stuff that we've been thinking about for the last 2 months. So now it becomes even more real. So make your own determination, but if you have a weird feeling about this game, may I give you a slight push, just once, let me give you a slight push here and say, follow that feeling. You know, if you feel a little off about this whole thing, remember that, because again, like, I want the game to do good, but you're charging money for it. This is not a free product. This is not something this is a luxury, okay? All of these things are, so you want us to pay money for this thing? Don't have it be like based off of 10 minutes of ideas and have 15 hours of just mediocre gameplay. The thing comes out 5 days after the Switch 2. Thing comes out the same month as Death Stranding, Rematch, FBC Firebreak. There's a lot going on in June, okay? This game needs to stand out, and it can't be just a game that feels like they're just throwing ideas at a wall. And as I speculate even in my last video, we know they're making kind of like that build anywhere kind of project, right? Or the idea that it's like an engine, right? And you can kind of build within it. That is something he talked about in this preview, this kind of creator or creative, like, I don't know, area. You know, you can make stuff. You can make your own levels. You can make your own scenarios. And that does sound fun. I'm not pleased, and I mean, he said this too, and I would definitely echo it. I'm not pleased with the idea that one of the main points that does sound interesting about this game, okay? Factually, I do think this is one of the coolest things about this game, is it's post-launch content. It's stuff that they're going to add later, and it's stuff that really relies on the community to do for them. They built the engine, they built the stuff, but they're also kind of building, I mean, separately even from the game they're doing this. So that always felt weird to me. And then, yeah, it's a cool little thing that they're well, not even little. It could actually potentially be very big. But you're relying on the community, and then you're relying on adding to it because, you know, what's the community supposed to do if it's a bare bones type situation? You're going to add to it, but you're going to add to it later. What if the game bombs, which I feel like it might? Like, what if it doesn't get support? Will you just drop that? You probably would, right? So, again, something feels off there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.